Okay, connected. Welcome to another episode of TBI Uncovered. The platform that allows traumatic brain survivors, those with brain injuries, brain conditions, stroke survivors, the wheelchair community, caregivers, and medical professionals, anyone associated with injuries or brain injuries to share their stories, provide resources and tips to those who may be impacted. On today's episode, I have a person, someone coming from London, and he has an amazing story. And I'm so excited for y'all to meet him. So I'm gonna bring him in now. Hey Ryan, how are you?
Hello. Hello, Erica. I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm pretty good. So you're in London. You're in England,
Yeah,
London.
London, UK, yeah.
So
Yeah.
how's the weather over there?
Typical English weather, like 1 minute it's raining, next minute it's sunny. So yeah, it's a mixture.
Does it ever get cold there?
Is it cold? Yeah, it's quite cold at the moment.
Okay, so it does get cold. Okay. And what's the hottest you think it has gotten?
Maybe 30, just over 30 degrees.
30? That's not hot.
Yeah. No, I know that's what other people say from different countries. Like that's not hot, but we're like, honestly, when it gets to like 15, like the tops are coming off and the roofs are down on the cars.
Wow. 15 degrees. You
Yeah,
said,
serious. Like
oh my goodness.
honestly, double figures is hot. Double
It's
figures
freezing.
here.
Wow. Wow. I guess the climate, I don't know much about the weather, but I guess it's different. But 15 degrees here would be like freezing, like super cold. Now, our feel good weather, I think, is like typically about maybe like 70 degrees. Like that's like the I guess the coolest I think I could tolerate. But 15 degrees, wow, that's cold over here. Consider over here
Celsius. Oh, this is Celsius.
Celsius. Okay, yeah. So I'm gonna start with tell people your name and a little bit about your story, your backstory of who you are pre TBI.
Yeah, sure. So thank you for having me. And yeah, my name's Ryan Nurse. I am a traumatic brain injury survivor and thriver. So just over 9 years ago now, I was attacked on the way home from a nightclub, and with no physical signs of trauma at all, I went home as usual and got into bed. But I literally, the last thing that I remember was walking up to the front door of my parents' house. And sadly, my parents couldn't wake me up the next morning. And I was rushed into hospital. And due to the injuries that I sustained, I suffered from a fractured skull and a blood clot due to a bleed on the brain. And I had to be put into an induced coma.
Wow, that's it's quite a story. Um, wow, just do that's intense. So you didn't know what happened. You remember getting attacked. You do remember that,
Yeah. I remember getting attacked. I
but you.
remember I called a friend of mine actually to take
Mhm.
me home, and I remember the whole journey on the way home. And my head, I say to people, it was like a gyroscopic feeling, like my head was spinning, and it was so heavy. And yeah, I literally remember pulling up outside my parents' house, getting out of the car, and walking up to the front door, and that was the last thing that I remembered.
Hmm. Wow, that has to be something. Because I mean, with mines, I I don't remember. I was shot in my head, so I didn't feel the impact of the bullet, which I'm glad I didn't. So I don't have any of those type of memories. I know I woke up in the hospital and that was it. Like I had no thoughts or whatever. But to get attacked and then that has to be kind of scary, I guess, in a sense, in some kind of way.
Yeah, so obviously when I was attacked, I knew things were bad because my head was obviously hurting me,
Yeah.
but because there was no physical signs of bruising or blood,
Right.
etc., and
Right.
no physical trauma to my face, I
Hmm.
thought maybe because I had a couple of drinks, I've been hitting the head quite a few times hard,
Hmm.
like I'll just go home and sleep it off, sort of thing. So I obviously did go home, but then once I actually got to my house or my parents' house and went to bed, I just must have blacked out, and I can't remember anything after that. And my parents failed to wake me up multiple times, and this is just talking from my parents' point of
Mm-hmm.
view. I was vomiting, and it was just like jet black vomit, and they'd never seen anything like this
Mm-hmm.
before. So they were obviously scared, which sort of led them to call the emergency services, where I
Right.
was rushed to hospital. And once I was put into that induced coma, the specialist told my parents that I would be very lucky, excuse me, lucky to survive the night.
Mm-hmm.
And for any parent, that's like the worst news possible, like the worst thing that they could hear come out of somebody else's mouth. So, like I say, they said I wouldn't survive the night because the
Mm-hmm.
injuries were that bad. And 3 days in, I was being kept alive by the life support machine. And
Mm-hmm.
on the third day, they gathered my parents, my loved ones, and they took them into a small room at the hospital. And the specialist actually suggests to my parents that they would advise them switch the life support machine off because there was zero brain activity. And again, for my parents, this was like the worst news that they've ever heard. Like your child's laying on a life support machine, and the specialist advised you switch it off. But
Mm-hmm.
my dad ultimately saved my life because my dad stood up and he said, "No, the machine isn't
Mm-hmm.
getting turned off
Yeah.
because Ryan takes his own time to do anything in life." Like
Oh goodness.
he said,
That's
he's a
right.
bit stubborn. Actually, that's what my dad said. Like he's stubborn. Like he'll do it in his own time. So like, you need to give him that time because he
The
will
next one.
come round. And again,
Mm-hmm.
specialists were like, these injuries are so bad, and if he
Mm-hmm.
would ever wake up, he'd be in a vegetative state for the rest of his life, and he would never be able to walk or talk again, and he'd be in a vegetative state. But my parents were willing to take the chance and just say like let him go for it and just keep that hope there. And thankfully that my dad done that. Over the next few days, I did start to improve on, I don't even know, on the scale where the machine goes
Mm-hmm.
up and down. Like I was
Yeah.
starting to improve. There's a name for it. I can't remember the the scale they measure it on. I've forgotten now, but
Mm-hmm.
I was slowly progressing on that scale to
Yeah.
the point where they wanted to reduce the sedation to bring me out of the coma.
Okay.
And the very first time they done this, I wasn't responding at all, and I had to be put back into the coma because I wasn't breathing by myself.
Mm-hmm.
And again, they suggest that my parents switched it off, and my dad was like, "No, we need to try again. Like we need to give him another go." So the next day they tried again, so they reduced the sedation once more. But thankfully for me, this time I did start to
Right.
respond and obviously breathe on my own. And
Mm-hmm.
I was in the coma for about a week in total. And
Mm-hmm.
then it obviously took me a short period to get up and out of the coma because
Mm-hmm.
obviously I was tired and I was just waking up, I guess. And when I was coming round, there was only minimal movements where I might twitch a toe or twitch a finger,
Mm-hmm.
etc. And
Mm-hmm.
once I did do this, my parents would rush to the doctors and say like he's just twitched his toe, and they say like no,
That's
this is
right.
just electrical impulses. Like he might not come around still, and this is
Mm-hmm.
over a week in, and my parents just kept that hope there, and it got to the point where I did obviously come round. I did wake up, and the very first time I actually saw myself in the intensive care unit, I actually suffered an out of body experience too prior to
Mm-hmm.
that,
Wow.
and I actually looked down on myself and
Mm-hmm.
I realised that I was alive, and
Mm-hmm.
it was quite scary actually. It was a surreal
Yes,
experience,
I was
and
gonna say it's surreal.
I
Yeah.
was thinking, am am I dreaming this still or not? And like I say, looking down at myself, I had all these
Yeah.
wires in my arms and I had a tracheostomy
Yeah.
in my throat, etc. So that was a very scary experience to see that.
Yeah, our stories are very similar. They told my parents the exact same thing, that I have zero chance in life. Pull the plug. Everything you just said, what they said about you, I've experienced the same thing. Like it was just like nostalgia, just hearing it over again. Like I feel like we're twinsies. Like, and even our brain injuries are different. It's just it's one and the same because we went through the same type of things. Both were in a coma. My coma lasted a month and a half. So my mom was in a coma for a very long
Wow.
time, and they had to wean me off the stuff, the anesthesia stuff too. So our summers are very parallel to each other. So it's so amazing how we can be so different but the same at the same time. So but yeah. So what you said on your Instagram, you said you went from depression to progression. So
Yeah, so this is obviously this is totally unrelated to the brain injury, but I can tell
okay.
you about the depression if you want me to.
Yeah, yeah, just briefly, yeah. Just let's cover that just a little bit. Did you
Yeah,
experience
sure. So
depression
just quickly go
during
say
during
that
during
again.
your
Sorry.
during your recovery process? Did you experience depression?
No, no. To be fair, no, I didn't. And thankfully for me, the recovery, as much as a few things like tiredness and memory loss, that
Mm-hmm.
lasted years. To be fair,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it got better. It progressed over the years, but it did
Mm-hmm.
last for years. But there was no real trauma after it. I did have to learn to walk and talk again after my
Okay.
TBI, and
How long did that take?
sort of coming out. Say that again. Sorry,
How
about
long, how
walking
long,
and
did, how
talking.
long, how long, yeah, to walk and talk, yeah.
Yeah, so literally a matter of days. To be fair, I was in hospital, obviously with a tracheostomy in my throat, and
Mm-hmm.
I was immobile because I wasn't walking.
Right.
I had to learn how to walk again, and once the tracheostomy was out and I had the patch across my throat, it was
Mm-hmm.
hard to speak. But that it just
Mm-hmm.
again progressed every day. Um, the first time I actually remember walking myself on the Zimmer frame, I walked myself across the ward to the toilet. And again, that was a very scary and surreal experience because I
Mm-hmm.
walked across the room, maybe 10 steps. I went to
Mm-hmm.
the toilet, obviously, and I turned around and washed my hands. And as I'm washing my hands, it almost felt like somebody was looking at me. So as I look up slowly, I realised it was a mirror, and it was quite a dark room, and it was a mirror. And as I made contact with my eyes, I looked straight back down, and I didn't understand what I just saw, and I had to take it all in because the last time that I saw myself was obviously that night prior to the attack.
Right. Right.
So I'd done it again. I slowly looked up, and then I just saw myself. And at
Mm-hmm.
first, I couldn't understand what I was looking at. I didn't know it was me, because
Mm-hmm.
the first thought that come to my mind was Frankenstein, because I had half of my head
Yeah,
shaved. I had
yeah,
the
yeah.
staples the whole way in my head. I had a hole in my neck. My left eye was pointing upwards, and
Mm-hmm.
it was horrible in all honesty. And I just cried my eyes out. So that was the first time that I remember walking. But after that, it was a very quick process where within about a week I was on crutches, and the crutches last for maybe a month or 2 months on crutches. But to be
Mm-hmm.
fair, it was just for support. Maybe on the second month, just for support.
And it's a blessing that you got to, you bounce back so quickly. Because I mean, with mine's, I literally, I laid there. I had no thoughts. Like I didn't even think like, oh, what happened to me? I didn't think anything. I'm like, I'm just laying up these tubes, and tubes all over, whatever. And I see people, and I remember who people were, but I had no thoughts. And it's not so crazy to say, but I literally had no thoughts. And I didn't think like I did what happened to me or why am I here or what's going on. I never thought those things. I never tried to move. I don't know why. I don't know why my brain was it just wasn't clicking. And so like once I did find out what happened to me, it gave me a reason or a drive to push myself. But before then, I was just I felt like I was on vacation. But what kind of vacation would be in hospital bed? Like so it was very surreal experience. Like it just one day one day you're walking, one day so you're laying down. It's just kind of like it's different. But again, I didn't think anything like what happened. I just didn't nothing registered to me at that moment. And I guess that's why our brain injuries are so different because it affects us differently. So and it's hard to explain. You don't understand it, but it's just one of those things that it's just you wouldn't know unless you've been through it. So yeah.
Exactly, and again, like you say, we're all different, and it can affect us all in different ways. And one other thing that I'll just brush over quickly
Mhm.
about saying laying in a hospital bed and how weak we are, and we don't actually realise how weak we are. Just say laying there for X amount of time, and
Yeah.
for me, only being in the coma for say a week and just coming out, so probably into the second week,
Mm-hmm.
I decided to try and walk myself to the toilet because I
Mm-hmm.
needed to go to the toilet and I didn't realise the situation I was in. So I was
Mm-hmm.
pressing the button and I was
Mm-hmm.
waiting for the people to come, the doctors and the nurses, and no one was coming. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to walk myself to the toilet. And I actually, because I didn't realise that my head was, I wasn't with it totally because I was still sort of coming round. And
Yeah.
I actually lifted, I pulled my legs off to the side of the bed. Bearing in mind I had a tracheostomy in my throat, I had all the wires in me. I pulled my legs off the side of the bed and I used all my upper body strength and I pushed myself up and
Mhm.
off of the bed. As soon as my feet touched the floor, I hit the floor and I pulled all the
Mhm.
machine with me. And I was laying on the floor in a pile of needles and wires. And luckily, someone saw it and he come and
Yeah.
picked me back up onto the bed.
Oh
But
my goodness.
yeah, that was another experience.
Sure it would by itself. Wow. Wow. And I did mention I had a stroke as well on my right side. So my body just went through so many different things, like a lot of things. But I really never thought anything like it just So you just I just lay there and just like but I never thought anything, but you kinda had an idea what happened to you. I had zero idea. Like I didn't know anything. Like I was just like you ever seen the movie I don't know if it's concussion or you ever seen a movie called The Unknown? You ever seen a movie before with Liam
No, I
Neeson?
haven't. No, I
He
haven't.
he works in the trauma.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, and it's very weird, but I can relate to it so much because like yeah, I can remember like he didn't know what happened. Like it was just so yeah, but it's just your brain. I don't know what clicks in your brain. I don't know. Like it's hard to explain. Like I don't know. The brain is so complex. There's nothing um you can really say much about it because yeah, see, we are different. Our bodies react differently to things, and we all heal differently. So it's just amazing how our bodies are so different and our brain acts so differently. So you say recovered pretty quickly. So did you have any moments where you were kind of discouraged at all, or you didn't have time to be discouraged? You were just so busy trying to bounce back.
Yeah, no. So to be fair, no, there wasn't any times. And
Mhm.
again, it was just being happy that I was alive. To be fair, because
Yeah.
I like you say about the memory. As soon as I
Mhm.
woke up, I remembered every single thing that happened,
Mhm.
the whole attack situation. I
Mhm.
remembered everything so clear. And again, I'm
Mhm.
just lucky and blessed because of that. Because
Yeah.
once I saw myself and realised the extent of my injuries, I understood like how severe it was. Because before seeing myself in the mirror and seeing, well, because I didn't realise who I was looking at to start with because it didn't look like me. I was looking in the mirror. So
Mhm.
once I saw that, I realised, wow, I'm lucky to be alive. So
Mhm.
lucky to be alive. So
Yeah.
once I did start to walk, and once I went home, obviously after coming out of hospital, it was just like, what can I do to just start getting better and start
Mhm.
moving, start like I just wanted to go back to work to be fair and finish my college that I was doing as well.
Mhm. So what year were you in school?
Yeah, no, so I was working, but I was doing a college like an apprenticeship course for car
Okay.
mechanics. So I just wanted to go back to my college and finish the
Yeah.
apprenticeship course, which I did
Okay.
in the end. Yeah.
That's wonderful. So you switching gears. Have you guys want to be a motivational speaker? Is that
Yeah,
something you
so
want to do?
I'm. Again, sorry.
Has that always been something you want to do, or did it just come because of what happened to you?
No, so it's only just really come about the last year or so, to be
Hmm.
fair. So for, coming out of hospital, like I say, my speech was really bad for a while.
Hmm.
Memory loss, especially short-term memory loss. Like I say, for years,
Yeah.
I struggled to get words out. I could be having a conversation with you now, saying just forget what I'm talking about.
Hmm.
Um, but then going on from that, only just say recently, like I can skip over this, or I can speak about this if you want to. But the whole I did get into a relationship soon after coming out of hospital, which was a 6.5 year relationship,
Hmm.
but sadly ended at the end of 2018, which ended up causing me with a depression.
Hmm.
And once I sort of come out the other side of the knowledge that I gained from facing and overcoming the adversities in my life to help other people, and that's what I'm doing today.
That's wonderful, and and it's needed, because people are going through, and we're in this COVID situation, so people are feel isolated and they're losing hope. And things like your story, it really can inspire. It has inspired millions of people, I'm sure already. But just and that's why I'm doing this, because like we need encouragement, and knowing seeing somebody that has been through something that you've been through and been able to bounce back and have such a positive attitude is so needed right now. Like, and it's such a breath of fresh air. Like, I'm pretty positive myself, but for other people on their end, I can only imagine how it feels to see somebody like it's kind of like, well, it's kind of like an aha moment, like, wow, there's somebody else out there that like been through what I've been through, or if they can be so positive, what's wrong? Why can I do positive? Like, it just give people a glimmer of hope. And I love inspiring people as well, and sharing my knowledge with other people, and sharing what I know with other people. And it's not going to be good to keep to myself. So I gotta share it, and I don't mind sharing it. And so that's why I enjoy doing these episodes, because I learn, and as well as I'm sure you learn stuff as well. So it's like it's to get the keeps on giving, I guess you could say. It's to get the keeps on giving. And so, what's your favorite quote like you use? Do you have a favorite quote?
Oh, there's so many quotes. I love quotes.
Hmm.
Best quote I've ever been told is from my granddad, and when he was alive, he used to tell me
Hmm.
this probably twice a day, and it used to be always look after number one.
Hmm.
And I told someone about this morning, and if you think about it, nobody cares about your life as much as
Hmm.
you do,
Hmm.
and everything that you do is for you. And it's not selfish to put yourself first at all. It's actually a smart decision, because you can't give what you don't have, and you can't pour from an empty cup. So you always have to put yourself first in life.
But I hear you, but it seems kind of, see, it seems a little selfish at times. But I guess it depends on, I guess it depends to an extent to putting yourself first. I guess is what I want to say, because when you have a child, you don't come first. When you have a kids, you don't come first. So I think it depends on like the situation or the circumstance that you're in of putting yourself first. So I
Yeah,
guess
no,
it's like
I
a twofold kind of thing. So I guess
yeah,
it's
I love like you say that, because I love to just explain more, because so many people say,
yeah.
"Oh, it is selfish." Like you say, especially with kids, etc. But the
Mhm.
way that I compare it, and I'm sure you may have heard this before, but just think when you're on an aeroplane, and say, for
Yeah.
instance, it loses cabin pressure and the
Mhm.
mask fall down, they always
So
say, put your mask
first.
on first. And this isn't selfish at all. This is so that
Mhm.
you are at your optimum, which in
Mhm.
return will then increase your ability to then help others. So if you
Yeah.
have, say, got your child next to you on the aeroplane,
Mhm.
your mask falls down, you can put it on and then help your child. Because if you don't put yours on and you lose breath,
Yeah.
nobody's helping the child.
It's true. It's very true. But because I guess it depends on the circumstances. I guess it depends on the circumstances. Because if I'm hungry and I'm a mom, I'm gonna make sure my child eats first. Because it's just, I don't know. If I'm hungry, I know you're hungry as well. It just, I guess it depends on the situation. I guess I don't know. And I guess I'm a woman as well. It's kind of like, I don't know if that makes a difference. I'm not sure, but yeah, we're nurturers, so it's kind of like you really think about yourself first when you're a woman. So it's kind of like, yeah, some people take care of families and things like that. So I guess really the circumstances and like like your gender, I guess too. So I don't know. Um, what does "full around the world" mean? Well, I know "full around the world." Like,
Yeah,
is that like a thing, or is
yeah,
that like
that's
a meaning behind it?
yeah, there is. So, like I say, when I was when I was living, this is nothing to do with the TBI at all. This is
Mhm.
afterwards in the relationship.
Mhm.
Once me and my partner separated, I was actually living in our old house on my own, and that's when
Okay.
the depression really kicked in.
Mhm.
And yeah, it was like months of mental misery where I felt like I
Mhm.
was trapped in a prison in my own home.
Mhm.
But as I moved out, I was driving back to my parents, and I set myself this travel goal to visit a different country every single month for a complete year.
Wow.
So that weekend, I thought I'm going to go out to like a local pub, bar, restaurant, whatever you want to call it, and
Mhm.
just see like who's about, because I hadn't been back to that area for like 6 7 years.
Mhm.
So I didn't want to go back into the old routines and the old habits of going out, say partying and all that stuff. But I just wanted
Mhm.
to show my face and just to see if I could bump into anyone from school,
Right.
which I did. And I met a group of guys that I knew from school. Some of them were friends, and some of them were just people that I knew. And
Mhm.
they said, "Oh, what's going on? Like you've sold your house and you split up with your ex partner and stuff like that." And I was like, "Yeah, but I've set myself this travel goal to visit a different country every month for a year." And some of them were like, "Oh my God, amazing!" And other
Yeah.
people were like, "Really? Like, is he gonna do that?" And this one guy, obviously drunk, just out of nowhere said, "How is a fool with a head like yours going to travel the world on his own?"
Hmm.
And I was like, I didn't know what to say in all honesty, but I sort of thought about it and I said, "Look, I'll show you how I'm going to do this." I put my drink down, I got a taxi home, and I literally just booked a one-way trip to Croatia for like 2 days, 3 days time. And that was the start of my journey where I did visit a different country up until 2020, which was my last trip to Rome. And then COVID obviously put stop to all of my trips. So that's when I thought to myself, how can I use the knowledge that I've gained from facing and overcoming the adversities in my life to help other people? So that's when I become vulnerable and started to share my journey on social media. And I thought I need to think of a name for this and just fool around the world because I love to travel the world. And that guy called me a fool. So
Wow, that's very clever. Wow, interesting.
thank
Thank
you.
you for telling me that. I love seeing your picture. Your pictures is so amazing. Like I feel like I'm living through you, like vicariously through you. So I'm like, where we going now? So, tell me about traveling to Singapore. Singapore is
Say that
it?
again, sorry.
Tell me about traveling to Singapore. It's so beautiful over there.
Oh, Singapore is it's incredible. It's a beautiful place. It's so
Yeah.
clean. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
literally it's illegal to have chewing gum there. That's how clean it is. You
Tourism.
have to have a prescription to have chewing gum. Serious, yeah, you got to have a
Tourism?
prescription to have chewing gum.
What?
Serious, you wouldn't find any rubbish on the floor. People go, they're literally hoovering the roads
Oh
the
my
pavements and the paths.
God.
It's so
Wow.
clean. It's beautiful. Yeah, Singapore. I would happily go back at any time, and a lot of it is underground as well. Like huge
Really?
shopping centres, it's all underground. So there's like almost say if you go into a shopping centre where you're from,
Yeah.
like maybe 2 or 3 levels high shopping centre, it's
Yeah.
like 2 or 3 levels deep
Wow.
underground. It's amazing.
Wow. I would love to see that. Oh my goodness. It sounds amazing. I've seen it through a movie. What's a movie called? Oh my goodness. I can't think of it right now, but I know what I'm talking about though. They were going to Singapore and they were getting married. I can't think of that movie, but it was such a good movie. I loved it. And it had a beautiful wedding and things like that, but it was such a beautiful place. Just looking at it from the movie. I know it's just a movie, but it's just I know it gotta be beautiful. So wow. So what do you say you said to continue moving forward?
Say that again. Sorry.
I said what do you say you have to keep moving forward?
Yeah. So moving forwards, I honestly believe that progression equals happiness. So
Hmm.
every single day, I'm trying to just better myself, just like 1% every day. So I'm just trying to better myself.
Hmm.
So yeah, like I say, the 2020 lockdown where I become vulnerable and I started to share my stuff online on social media, and it got towards the end of 2020, and I thought I need to keep progressing. I need to level up. So what can I do to move forward and move up?
Yeah.
So I needed to set myself some sort of next goal or a bigger goal. And I said, I'm going to start to write a book and I'm going to share my journey to help other people because I
Yeah.
know there's so many other people that need to hear my story.
Hmm.
And when I was just going back to when I was depressed, one single thought got me up and out of that ditch that I was in. And the thought that went through my mind said, could I live with the thought of dying with regrets? And when
Hmm.
I asked myself that question, I started to practice gratitude because I realised that the nightmare that I was going through was actually a dream for somebody else. And by
Hmm.
practicing gratitude, I started to attract these small positive things into my life.
Hmm.
So I've actually titled the book that I'm currently writing, Could I Live with the Thought of Dying with Regrets?
Hmm.
And
That's powerful.
again, that was towards the end of 2020. 2021 came around and I thought I need to keep progressing. And obviously back at work, fixing cars, I've only ever had the one job, not enjoying it, and to be fair, I haven't enjoyed it for a long time, but I was just comfortable there. So I thought, how long can I go on for this? Not enjoying it, just
Mhm.
living, to earn money, just to go on holidays and stuff. And I thought, now that I'm back at my parents, I'm single again. This would be the prime time to make a career change or just do something that really
Yeah.
fulfills me and what I want to
Mhm.
do with my life.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure you know about this amazing app, which is Clubhouse.
Yes.
And
Love it. Mhm.
Clubhouse came along, and it was literally like a savior. And I managed to network with some incredible people that I'd never have the chance to be around or listen to
Mhm.
in my life ever. And I'm listening and I'm absorbing all this knowledge, and I managed to network with a few people. And this one guy, AJ Gupta, his name is, and I
Mhm.
managed to get on a Zoom call with him mid March this year. And we jumped on a Zoom call, and he said, "Your story is incredible. It's so inspiring, and there's so many people that need to hear your voice and
That's
need to
right.
hear your message.
That's right.
What are you going to plan to do with your life?" And I said, "Look, I'm going to quit my job at some point and travel the world and share my message." And he
Mhm.
said, "Like when?" And I was like, "I don't know." So he literally come up with a date, and he said like the 26th of March, and this was 1 week's time.
Wow.
1 week time, and I was like, "This is a week's time." And he goes, "Are you committed to following your purpose and your dream?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I am." And I was shaking inside, and I said, "I'm going to do it." And bearing in mind, I've only ever had the one job and been there 13 or over
Yeah.
13 years.
Wow. That's
And the
awesome.
week after, I went in, I said to my boss, "We need to have a meeting." And I literally told him I'm going to leave my job. And
Mhm.
for my boss, he's amazing, and he said, "Like, congratulations!" Like, he's so happy that I'm doing it. So at the
Mhm.
moment, I'm on Clubhouse, I'm on social media, I'm reading books, I'm learning, and I'm writing, and I'm doing everything just to spread
That's
my
amazing.
message, because I have this huge purpose, mission, and vision, like I
Yes.
say, which is to use the knowledge that I've gained from facing and overcoming the adversities in my life
Mhm.
to help others become the very best versions of themselves,
That's right.
to have positive impact on over 1 billion lives, and to use and to be the beacon of light the world wakes up to.
I love that. It's so touching because it's so true. It's so true, and I'm inspired. I'm listening to you. I'm listening to you. I'm getting inspired to listen to you. Like it's so amazing, and I definitely agree with you because our stories are not meant to be kept for ourselves. You know, we're still here for a reason. God gave us a second chance, and we gotta do something with it, and help change people's lives and impact them and keep them encouraged. Because, like I said, it's a lot of discourage people today. It's a lot of people. And for us, people like us, who've been through so many different things, how I would keep a smile on our face, how we keep on moving forward. It's like, but what are you doing? I'm not doing like it keep people hope and stuff. So I love that you said that, and you're amazing, Ryan, and I appreciate that. And you sure what you said. So what did you say you learned about yourself this what did you learn? What did you learn about yourself thus far?
That's a brilliant question. So I just learned about myself, how amazing I really am, to be fair, and the things that I've managed to overcome. And I know
Yeah.
it might sound big headed to people, but this is me. And I just look at my life and think, I've been, excuse my language, but I've been through some shit and I've overcome it. And
Mhm.
if I can do it, that surely means anybody can. So I just want to send a message out to people, like, go out there and live your best life. If you're going through a tough time, whatever difficulty you're going through, just know there is a better life out there. And I honestly believe adversity can quite often turn out to be a blessing in disguise. Because from my own experience, I've found that adversity is the prerequisite to growth, success, and true happiness. And I believe hidden at the very core of adversity is the key to progression and lifelong happiness. It isn't going to be easy to find this key, but once you have obtained it, it will unlock the barrier to your next level of life.
Yes, I definitely agree. I definitely agree with you. I 100% like I couldn't say it better myself. Like it's just people always ask you like how do you keep going forward? I had no choice but to. Like we're gonna stop. Like no, you don't. It's like the thing about stopping now be like ludicrous to me. Like it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any zero sense. Like why would I stop if I we've been through so many different things. Those so much. Like and when did your injury happen? What year did it happen? What year?
Mine was towards the end of 2000. Yeah, towards the end of 2011.
Okay, so about 10 years, almost 10 years.
Coming up, yeah, coming up. It'll be 10
Almost
years
10
this
years.
year.
Yeah. So and look how far you come. Look how far you come. Like just look at you. Like it's so amazing. It's so wonderful. So what do you want other people to know about TBIs?
Just how they can impact people, because again, this is just going from my experience.
Hmm.
For me, being in that on a life support machine in a coma, being told that I wouldn't survive, to then coming out, and again, for me, I'm so grateful and so thankful that the impact of me is so severe, but I managed to overcome it. I don't know who was looking over me, but someone was looking
Hmm.
over me.
Yeah, that's
And
good.
as soon as I came out, people just saw me walking and talking again, and they just thought I was fixed, but I really wasn't fixed. So just people that have suffered from TBIs,
Mhm.
and if you know about it, just make sure they are really okay, because there's a lot that goes on in the mind too that people can't see, and just because they're walking and talking and even smiling doesn't mean
Doesn't mean.
they're okay. And this goes
Mhm.
this goes for anything, whether this is TBI or even mental health issues at all. So that's what I could say. Like, so many people thought I was just fixed, as to say, just
Yeah.
because I was out of hospital again.
You look like it. Like you look like you're fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly.
It's so interesting. So what would you so what's next for you? What's next for Ryan Full Around the World?
Yeah, and so next for me, so that's a brilliant question. So, like I say, I'm currently writing the book. I want to have it um ready to get out to publish by the end of this year, because then that
Okay.
will be the 10th year anniversary, and I think that'd be really special.
Yeah, it
So
would
for
be.
me, is the book. I'm currently learning how, starting to learn how to be a life coach.
Okay.
I'm practicing to do keynote speaking, because that's what I love to do, keynote speaking.
Yeah.
And yeah, so many things. Like, I want to travel the world still. Like, everyone says, because I love to travel the world, like, what countries do I want to go to? But I literally want to go to every single country. But
Mm,
at the minute, it's just listening, learning, supporting, and serving in any way that I can.
that's beautiful. That is beautiful. So I've enjoyed having you, interviewing you, and again, so many gems that you said, and it's a lot. And I thank you for your time and your knowledge and your ability to overcome and just spreading your message and your story to help other people. That's very something very special. So tell people how they can follow you and where they can find you at. Any questions or want to be your friend or whatever. Where can they follow you at?
Yeah, yeah, no, of course. So thank you so much for your kind words, and thank you for having me here today as well. And if anybody's listening to this or watching this, you can just find, excuse me, you can find me at Fool Around the World on Instagram. Is the best place. Just send me a message over there, and I will get back to you.
So are you on Facebook as well or just Instagram?
I am on Facebook, but to be fair, I don't use it. So I
Okay.
mean, you could go on there, but there's not
Yeah.
you're not really going to get much on there. So yeah,
Yeah.
Instagram, send me a DM, and I'll be happy to get back to you.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate you all watching. But thank you again, Ryan, for your time, and you have a good rest of your day. And thank you. And continue to do great things. Spreading
Yeah,
your message.
thank you, and you too. Just a
Thank
big
you.
congratulations to you for how far you've come too. And
Thank you.
one final question to you, if I can.
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead. You got time.
What is your favorite quote, and
Oh,
why?
oh my goodness. I love words. I'm big on words. So I actually have it on my desk. It says the first story can be written. Oh no, I'm sorry. The first word can be written. Wait, I gotta look at it again. Oh, the first sentence can be written until it's written. So meaning you gotta start. You gotta start, and that helps me with focusing on my book as well. So I have to look at that quote like, what does it say? So I gotta start. So that's what it tells me, and that's by Joyce Carol Oates. So I like that quote. And also,
Amazing.
I create a quote myself as well. I say you got to accept what was and now it is. Accept what was and now it is. So you got to accept what happened, whatever may be good or bad, adversity, whatever, and now it is. But like where your current state is, because I mean, got to keep moving forward. Like you said, progression. I'm big on moving forward. I'm an advocate for moving forward, not staying stuck. I'm staying stagnant. I don't believe in that. I'm always I call myself a pusher in a good way. Like, I'm all about encourage people to do better. Like, be your best version of yourself. So keep moving forward. And I don't understand. Um, I don't understand quitting. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, I don't understand. Like, why can't you do it? Like, what does that mean? I don't understand that. So, but yeah, I'm not stopping until I get back on my feet. I'm still gonna continue doing my therapy and what I got to do for myself. And yeah, so and write my book as well. And I'm also looking to create my documentary. So I'm gonna get that back started up as well. So yeah, that's the next priority. So yeah,
Amazing.
yeah.
Oh,
Thank
that's
you.
incredible. I love that. And thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you. So you have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk. Well, I'll talk with you soon, and I appreciate your conversation.
Thank you. And thank you for everybody that's going to listen to this and watch this.
Yes,
And yeah, thank you. Have a great weekend and we'll catch up soon.
yes. Thank you. You have a good one. Bye bye.